Welcome in. Clippers Talk After Dark. We'll see who shows up. Is it too late? I was late. I went on with Chuck a little bit post game on Clips and Dip in the parking lot, and now I'm home and it's a little bit late here. But I know there's some absolute night owls out there that want to talk about this Clippers ball game. It's disappointing, guys, because you're up 9 with less than 4 minutes left. That's just a game you have to find out or find a way to win. It's just all these games are so important right now. I know it's night one. I'm not going to overreact. But they got a back-to-back coming up this weekend in Denver and then in San Francisco against Golden State. They have to go 1-1. I don't think they're going 2-0. So therefore, you go 1-1, you're starting off the season 1-2. Can you get to 2-2 after Portland next Wednesday right back at Intuit Dome? I think. But if you're up 9, you got to put that game away late. You just do. Shouldn't have gone into overtime against Phoenix tonight. If I'm being honest about it. And it's Clippers Talk After Dark, so I can do that now. I see some people just coming in here. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I appreciate you sticking with me. Had the post-game Clippers talk that seemed a little bit abbreviated tonight with the callers because, I don't know. I'll try to figure out the reasoning for that. But this was disappointing. Outside of the environment at Intuit Dome, everything else, as Vetter Mikhail said, was beautiful. MKX LNT says, we got you double A. J Vol 18 said, hey, Adam, was at the game and got to say the fans were incredible, but I'm gutted by that loss. That's the thing. You guys, I just listened on the way home to Vitsa Zubats, to James Harden, and Coach Lou postgame, so I can speak on the postgame presser now. They were so disappointed that they didn't win that game for you guys because they felt the crowd, the energy, the wall worked beautifully. All the games that are being played on the Halo board, the energy was on point. It was perfect. And the Clippers were down by 14 and made a comeback. It felt like they were going to pull it through. But the end of the fourth quarter, you're up by 9 with less than 4 minutes left. You just got to find a way to get that game. You do. I know I'm harping on it. I'm a little bit tired. Bear with me. May order some food here off of DoorDash in a little bit. McDonald's, Taco Bell, I'm not sure. I'll drown my sorrows from that Clippers loss in a bean and cheese burrito. I was just so proud at how the team played overall with their effort, with their fight. The defense showed up. The defense is real. I don't know if they can be top 5 or top 3 because offensively, guys, that's the problem. Coach Lou talked about it post game. What happened in that first half was like my worst nightmare, just scoring 39 points. They scored 35 points in the third quarter alone. The offense was brutal in the half court early on. In fact, I took some notes on that. There was a second quarter stretch where they didn't score for 6 minutes just about. Zoo steps out of bounds. Harden a bad turnover in transition. Zoo forces a bad one, misses over Nurkic. Harden takes a tough 3. Zoo travels. Zoo then finally dunked on Plumlee to get out of it, I think. Out of a timeout. He dunked on Plumlee and just said enough. But my God. it was so tough to watch them have to grind out possessions in the half court because they weren't getting as many points in transition. They still ended up with 16, and they were better in the second half with playing more of their brand of basketball, turning defense into offense. But that first half was tough to watch. In fact, how many points did they have? Fast break points in the first half. Yeah, just 6. So they had 10 in the second half total. They figured it out eventually. But Coach Lou said post-game, their offense, they played the right way in spurts. But he wants them to cut harder. He wants them to roll harder. And a lot of that is decisiveness with knowing where you're supposed to be. And it's a lot of game one stuff that they can get better at. As Renee Z said, great game, but sad it ended with a loss. Heartbreaking to lose game one in that way to Phoenix. Yeah. Better Mitchell was at the stadium since 12 p.m. No idea how I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 6 a.m. Man, you're a warrior. This is why, I feel tired, but I want to stay up. I want to talk Clippers basketball for a while with you guys because I know how devoted you are. And I want to play some sound for Ivica Zubats at some point talking about the fan base. He had some really kind words to say on a question from Farbad Essenshari postgame. Fahad Sharif said, it was a great game, but also about half our rotation is new. We will only increase their chemistry. That's one positive in the loss for me. How many minutes did Derrick Jones Jr. play? Renee Z is asking me here. Let me get that for you. I got the final box score. He was only at 24, but it makes sense to some extent. And he had a couple of big plays in the second half with a huge three-pointer he made and a layup in transition. He was really good. He ended up being a +4. Terrence Mann ended up being a +7 in a game they lost by 3, and he fouled out in it. The last foul, legit. A couple before that, they weren't letting the Clippers play their style of basketball. And I brought this up in the pregame, and I've talked about it, I think, on Clips and Dip recently, but a lot of how the Clippers want to play is going to be dictated by how the referees are calling it that night. That's concerning to me because they want to be physical. They want to be the aggressors, but then you see a guy like Nico Batum pick up foul after foul after foul, off-ball fouls, where he's doing what he thinks is, passable. Good defense. He had 3 fouls in his 21 minutes. I think he was playing FIBA Olympic ball, but they don't let that amount of physicality go, or they didn't tonight. There's some wonky calls. It's not why the Clippers lost the game, though. Don't get it twisted. Vetter said, wish we would sell out the arena. Bum there were so many empty seats, especially in the wall. It's still early. I don't know what the final tally was. I didn't see so many. But it's game one. Dodgers are in the World Series. Clippers might not have full attention of everybody yet, but it'll change. Don't worry. Look, I feel like it's so balanced between the positives and negatives tonight because I was talking about it with Chuck Mockler on Clips and Dip in the parking lot post game. And here's the thing. You look at the rebounding advantage the Clippers ended up with in the game. And I look at, you know what? I don't have the final, it's not posted, the overtime box score. I have the end of regulation. So actually, I need to recalculate those numbers from Derrick Jones Jr. and how many minutes he ended up playing. He played 24 minutes through the fourth quarter. Here, I'll get the final tally for you. I don't know. It wasn't posted. That's annoying. Clippers lose 116-113 in OT as Phoenix would make their last 10 free throws. That was also frustrating. As good as the wall was, got the free Chick-fil-A. Kevin Durant missed 2. That rarely ever happens. He's one of the best at the charity stripe. So Derrick Jones Jr. ended up at 29 minutes for his 12 points. He was really good out there. He ended up a +1. Terrence Mann did end up a +7. When Terrence Mann went off the floor, that is when Phoenix started to make their run, guys. Clippers were up by 9 at the 7-minute mark of the fourth. Then I think by 10, around the 6-minute mark of the fourth. Then by 9, still with just under 4 minutes left in the game. You have to find a way to pull through. I get it. Guys were taxed, and James Harden ended up playing 40 minutes. Man, there was a shift when Terrence Mann left the ball game and picked up that 6th foul. I think it was at, let's see, the 7:15 mark of the fourth quarter. Was that the end of Terrence Mann? 3:52 left. Amir Coffey knocks down a free throw. Missed the second one, but the Clippers are up 99-90 with 3:52 left. 3:52 left. Renee Z said KPJ didn't play well, but I'll give it to Rust, or I'll attribute that to Rust. I want to see him get comfortable and take better shots. I don't think you know who KPJ is if you think he's going to take many better shots. He's a tough shot taker and maker. Problem is tonight, he didn't make them. When he doesn't make them, it looks bad. There's going to be a lot of nights like this from KPJ, just so you know. Optimus Prime 1213 said, I'm very disgusted about tonight's game. People coming in here now. Renee Z said defensive intensity was amazing. Yes. Derrick Jones Jr., 29 minutes. My mistake. Team Man shot 4 of 6. I would like to see the number of shots go up. Really happy with Zoo's role. Team Man was in foul trouble all night. That was the problem. Played 27 minutes. He was a +7 in a game. They lost by 3. Norman Powell +5 in a game they lost by 3. Just one guy a plus off the bench. Of course, it was Nico Batum. What else is new? Wins his minutes almost every time. The one thing I'll say about Terrence Mann is, guys, and this was not a good sign, he had a three-pointer on the right wing early on in the first quarter that he hesitated on. The crowd got on top of him, and then he took it and was out of rhythm and missed it. That was the only three-pointer he attempted, 0 of 1. That's a big shot for this Clippers team and Terrence Mann. Wish we brought back Harden earlier, even with the 9-point lead, just to seal the game. I don't think that's why they lost. Like, let me tell you when James Harden came back in. They're up 91-84 at the 5:44 mark when Harden came back into the ball game. Like, they didn't want him playing 40 minutes. I don't think they want him playing more than 35 minutes a night. He was at 34 last year for the Clippers. They're even more taxing right now with what's being expected of him offensively. But my guy, they're up 99-90 with 3:52 left. Harden definitely did look gas at times late and into overtime, especially. I thought he got hacked on a couple, but they didn't call it. The reason they were able to open up the lead again is because Harden middies over Tyus Jones. That was it. There was a push shot he missed out of a timeout. I'm trying to find that from James Harden. It was a big one. There were some bad possessions in the last 4 minutes by the Clippers, as you would expect. And the Suns ended up getting some easy ones. Too many easy ones. Tyus Jones got a real easy one. Kevin Durant, I think, got an easy one. That and one. I don't fault. Look, the team fought. Absolutely. Edmondo Carino said, would have been less if they did not offer the supporters free parking. A little nervous our fans will slowly be priced out. I don't think so. MKXLNT said, all the numbers look like a win until man gets kicked. Renee Z said, the second half was incredible. It was so loud in there, guys. I took off my headphones multiple times just to get the full effect because obviously headphones are turned up loud. So I wanted a natural sound. Optimus Prime 1213 said, that made me more mad right there because we should have won this game. Vetter said, thoughts on the Hans Zimmer theme. I thought it was cool. Frankie Boy 9 said, Adam, I had to block lots of haters on Twitter because I do believe after this game we are a beast of a team, and I believe we're going to win lots of games. Maybe, but they're likely starting the season 1-2. I don't think they're winning both games Saturday and Sunday. That's a tough back-to-back. Renee Z said T-Man was upset when Harden didn't see him in the corner to end the first half. He was free and wide open. Okay. Timothy said Norm was disappointing. 5 of 15, 1 of 7 from 3. Suns were crowding the paint, and he struggles to play make overall. We're asking a lot of him. They are. Norm can play better. Norm also hit the first shot of the game and into a dome. Jumper near the free throw line. He was shooting it well early on. I think part of the problem for Norm was, guys, as good as he was defensively, on Book, on Beal at times, he wrecked Devin Booker a couple of times in the second half. His defense was really, really phenomenal. That takes something out of your legs offensively. And Norman Powell missed a lot of shots he typically makes. And can anybody get me what Norman Powell ended up shooting in the second half of this game and through overtime? Because at the half, let's see, Norman Powell was 3 of 8. After the third quarter, he's 3 of 10, so he misses a couple more. By the end of the fourth quarter, he's 4 of 13, so he goes 1 for 3 there. And then by the end of overtime, he goes 1 for 3 again in OT because he ended up 5 of 16. So, yeah, 1 of 7 from 3. I hope that's not legs and the defense hurting his offense because jumpers weren't falling. Moassine said, do you think bringing in Dunn when Mann fouled out would have been a good replacement to keep the defense consistent? I'm trying to see again what the score was when Terrence Mann fouled out of this one. He also missed 2 free throws that could have, when they were up 88-79, it could have put them up by 11 with under 7 minutes left. Don't get me wrong, Mann had some really good moments. I'm just telling you, those 2 misses were critical. When you look back on how you lose a game like this, when you had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, everything just so huge for this Clippers team. And it's really disappointing and frustrating because it looked like it was going to be a storybook type ending to their first victory in their first game at Intuit Dome. So I know where you guys are coming from here. I'm definitely extremely disappointed too. But they were down 14. They did battle. I'm proud of the team at the same time. I do think Chris Dunn had a couple amazing defensive plays in the game, including that strip on, I think it was Kevin Durant to get it to Terrence Mann in transition. And then did he have another one to Derrick Jones Jr.? Like, Chris Dunn's defense is really special. Problem is he struggles offensively, but he did make, I think, he went 1 of 2 from 3 and shot one with confidence early on. I liked seeing that from Chris Dunn. Lawler's Law took effect tonight, says Ross. If Zoo had hit the second free throw, the Clippers would have hit the law, but the Suns got there first. Yeah, Suns also scored first in overtime. Deca Fantastic said Norm did his job on defense too. He did, but did it take something out of his offense? Norm did his thing on defense. No doubt about it. Vetter said, got to head to bed, Adam. Thanks for being the voice of the fans. Whatever. I don't know if I'm that, but I'll take it. Frankie Boy 9 said, Adam, what was your thoughts on the atmosphere in the arena? Was it better than any Clippers game you've been to? I mean, for a regular season game, it was pretty special. There's nothing else like that. It's overwhelming. We have these station IDs that we have to hit at the top of hours, and not once but twice, as the producer got in my ear and told me, hey, get the ID in when we come back from the timeout here, when we come back from the break, and bring it back to action. I forgot twice. That rarely happens, and it's because I'm looking at the Halo board. I'm taking it all in. The environment's like nothing I've ever seen. It's overwhelming. It's sensory overload in the best way possible. Renee Z said, seen a tweet of someone posting the decibel levels on their Apple Watch was crazy. I saw that's awesome. They did that in the fourth quarter where they tested the decibel level. And did you guys see it get to 104? That's what I saw it hit, which is pretty great. Timothy said, when you were underdog, you need to limit your mistakes because you're not good enough of an offensive team to cover it up. Yeah, their margin for error is really small. Learned that from Don McClain 10 years ago. He was the first guy I heard talk about margin of error often. Saw him today in the cafeteria. Said, what's up to D-Mac. Believe it. Love Don McClain. Mio said, Harden 29 points, 12 more. Are you just putting up stat lines? Okay. Yeah, that's accurate. 10 of 28 from the floor, but he started 2 of 11. So he ended up hitting 8 of his next 17 shots. Almost at 50% after that. MKXLNT said, saw KPJ motion to Jeff Van Gundy, once saying, I can't hear you. Do you think that's Stan Van Gundy? Because that's Jeff. You said SVG. You saw 107. XD Programmer X. Did you get to 107, guys? Was it like that? I didn't know it was like that. You wanted this one so bad. And those big free throws made by Yusuf Nurkic at the end. And then the Clippers are still down by 3 with 3 seconds left. Harden couldn't handle the basketball. Grayson Allen rips it away. Game over. There were so many ways to win this game. And everything that went wrong or had to go wrong for them to lose it occurred, including one of the toughest shots you'll see from Kevin Durant on that jumper over, I think it was Amir and James Harden. Harden said post-game, I don't know how he got that off. I don't know either, man. And the push shot Harden took before overtime that would have won it, I thought was going to fall. I really thought it was going to happen for the Clippers. He meant Jeff Van Gundy. Frankie Boy 9 said, Adam, you think we have a chance on Saturday against the Denver Nuggets? I think if we play the defense we played tonight, we do have a chance. Yeah, but you got to be a lot better offensively. I'm telling you, the defense is great, but you're not going to be able to stop teams. If you're not making buckets on the other end, you're hurting your defense. These two things, one hand washes the other. They work together. Symbiotic relationship. That's not an advertisement for the new Venom movie. It's probably terrible. One of my favorite comic book characters, if not my favorite. And they have Tom Hardy doing them, but all the movies aren't very good. They're pretty damn mediocre at best. So there's a symbiotic relationship between offense and defense. Because when you get stops, you can get in transition on offense. But also, when you score buckets on offense, you can get back and set your defense. When the Clippers weren't scoring and went through that drought in the second quarter, and I'll pull it up for you and get the amount of time exactly of just how long they went without a point. So Chris Dunn makes that three-pointer. Wasn't first quarter, early second at the 10:45 mark. Clippers are up 27-26. The next time they scored was at the 4:55 mark. So they went almost 6 minutes without scoring a bucket. That can't happen. And they got down 13 by as many as 14. But you can play all the good defense you want. You also have to go out there and score points. Timothy's hating on me for the KPJ. Look, I've cleared this up many times. I said at some point, that could be way later this season, a night Harden has off. Next season. Coach Lou said, for us to have success, he's going to have to have a big impact this year. And KPJ was not good overall. The first lineup he was in, though, I don't fault him for taking those shots in that first lineup. And I was right. There were crossover minutes with him and Harden to start when he first came in. Kevin Porter Jr. and James Harden in that first quarter were both on the floor for a little bit. And then they subbed James Harden out. So kind of interesting to see how they're going to stagger guys, you know. And then it was Kevin Porter Jr. next to it was a tough lineup out there. And I don't know if some people realize who he is. Some people are talking about his shot selection. It's like, that's his shot selection. That's what he does. But he hits a lot of them, not tonight, and didn't play basketball all of last year. Somebody was saying he looked great in Greece to Chuck and I tonight on Clips and Dip. He was great in Greece. Give him time. He played 6 games in Greece, dude. What are you talking about? That doesn't mean anything. Chuck said we don't care about playing in Greece. I mean, Pat Bev can get 30 in Israel. Doesn't mean he's doing that in the NBA. It's not the same level of competition. So my problem was when he was taking the bag shots when Ivica Zubac was on the floor in his second stint. But make no mistake, not a good night for Kevin Porter Jr. 1 of 8, 13 minutes. That's why he was held to just 13 minutes. That's why I think Amir Coffey got a much bigger opportunity tonight in some ways. Amir was awesome. In his 26 minutes, 4 of 4, 2 of 2 from 3, hit a 32-footer and one in the far side corner. Big shots, 2 turnarounds. He didn't even get in transition for any of his makes. They were all jumpers. 2 tough turnarounds in the mid-range, which he's good at. They always feel like they're going into me. And then a 3 at the end of the shot clock, a 32-footer. That was really impressive. And one more. He said, if you look at the fourth quarter, the offense got better when he got subbed out early. Who are you talking about? KPJ? Did he play early fourth quarter? Because the Clippers did make a run early on in the fourth. He was on the in the fourth quarter early. I'm trying to see on the game log here when he was subbed out because the Clippers went in with a 2-point lead, 74-72. Amir Coffey had one of his buckets off an assist from Kevin Porter Jr. early. When did KPJ come out? When did that substitution pattern happen? So they're up by 4. Norman Powell came in for him, and that is when the Clippers made their run. It was Norm, Amir, Zubac, Chris Dunn, and Terrence Mann. That crew did some work, guys. Norm, Amir, Chris Dunn, and Terrence Mann. That's only 4 guys. Did I get everybody in here? Yeah. Norm, Amir, Terrence Mann, Ivica Zubac, Chris Dunn. It's late. If anybody can help me with that lineup data. Norman Powell hit a bucket. Yeah. Right away, they got the jump on Phoenix, and I thought they were going to pull away with this. After that Chris Dunn steal or defensive rebound and pass up ahead to Terrence Mann, causing a timeout for the Phoenix Suns at 88-79. Sorry, I got too much into the weeds there for you guys. Frankie Boy 9 said, I think maybe KPJ was nervous on his first game of the season. He will get better. Hope so. Ross said, look, he hasn't played basketball in a while. It's all understandable. Yeah, Lee Vibin said, Coach Lou said that was a game they feel they should have won. Obviously, they were up 9 late. They should have won that game. You got to close out. Ross said Coffey was practicing that 30-footer during pregame warmups. Is that right? Timothy said you'll see Clippers made that run in the fourth quarter when he got out. I mean, yeah, they were up 4. Mo said we needed minutes from Bones. He's done well against Phoenix in the past. And that's true, but I don't know if that's why they lost the game. Like, you can't just after the fact say, well, they should have played Bones. It's like you have to go with these guys and give them a chance and give KPJ a chance. That's what Coach Lou's going to do. Some 10 game sample size here. Himothy said that was the best lineup. It was Dunn, Man, Coffee, Norm, and Zoo. Yeah. It wasn't it was the lineup that got them the lead against a bad lineup though for the Phoenix Suns. Like when you look at lineup data, it's like, well, part of the reason they did that is because they were going up against a lot of backups and they outworked them. Ross said Zoo, Dunn, Coffee, Man, and Batum. Batum definitely got in at some point. Should we still expect a KPJ suspension? I still think it's more likely than not, unless you guys have intel or there was something said post game, I should say, regarding the suspension. I did see Adam Silver just a few seats to my left. Went on with it was Brian Seaman and Jim Jackson tonight. That was cool. I had never been that close to the commish before. Now, what did he end up with? Chris Dunn had 2 steals. One of them, though, was on Kevin Durant, and it was just nasty. I love his game. He is becoming one of my favorites on this Clippers team very quickly. Is it getting too late for me to order on DoorDash, or do you guys think I can still do it? I know I kind of can. Zoo also got on himself for fouling out, obviously, against Nurkic. That hurt him too, guys. That's part of this. I mean, just sending them to the free throw line over and over in overtime was really frustrating. KD free throws to start. Then Amir hits that big 3-pointer. But then Beal hits a 3, comes right back. Then Beal to the line after a couple of empty possessions by the Clippers. Then Nurkic to the line after Zoo also hit 2 free throws. Zoo fouls out on Nurkic, who hit both. They're up by 4. 4 in overtime sometimes. Carlos said it, like first to score in overtime usually wins. It happens a lot. Derrick Jones Jr. missed a layup in transition, but then got one to go, or a tough one at the rim. But Amir foul on Beal. It was almost a challenge. That Amir foul that Coach Lou was asked about post-game, I don't know if you guys were wanting them to challenge. I think I had a call about it post-game on AM 570, but I said it during the broadcast. I didn't think they should challenge that call because it wasn't that he got him on the arm with the hand. It looked like he got ball Amir on Beal, but they got tangled up with their feet. It would have been called a trip. That would have been problematic to challenge that. They would have lost their timeout most likely. I think very, very likely. Norm did have that bucket out of the timeout for a layup when they were down by 4, that quick layup late in overtime. And then you had the Beal turnover. But Norm missed a 3, and it was well short. Harden ends up getting fouled and is at the free throw line in OT. And I thought he was going to hit both. And I thought we were headed to double overtime. I really did. He missed the second one. It was brutal, man. It was 114 to 113. I thought he was going to tie it up at 114. Clippers were wise to foul Nurkic right away, but he stepped up and made 2 tough ones. And then the Clippers had the turnover late. Couldn't even get a shot off with 3 seconds left because of the turnover. It's frustrating. These are games you think about later in the season. I'm telling you, the margin of error is razor thin. Deca Fantastic said Clips had too many quarters where they were in the bonus at 5 minutes or 3 minute mark. Yeah, I brought it up pregame and during the game. Like, how are the refs going to call it? The Clippers can play that attack aggressive style of defense, but you got to be able to defend without fouling. And Phoenix ended up hitting, guys. This is going to shock you and upset you. And I'm going to give it to you anyways, okay? The Suns, after starting the game 8 of 14 at the charity stripe, they ended up making their last 10 straight free throws. Some clutch free throw shooting in the fourth quarter and overtime. Hated seeing that. And then Zubats and Terrence Mann foul out. But the game got extended into overtime when it shouldn't have been. You know, I know Terrence Mann fouled out before that, but you're up by 9 with less than 4 minutes left. Find a way. And to their credit, I felt like the Phoenix Suns, when they had to get desperate and play with a sense of urgency and intensity on the defensive end, they ramped things up when it came down to winning time. Like you could see it out there in the fourth quarter when things were starting to slip away for them. 99-90, 3:52 left. Devin Booker, big three, 6-point game. Uh-oh. Like you cut into the lead that quickly. That is a huge shot the very next possession by Booker. Really big, impactful three to turn into a 6-point game. And then Harden had a push shot out of a timeout, didn't go. Then Mann fouls out. Booker went 1 for 2. Then Harden a bad pass to Zoo, a steal, and a Tyus Jones easy layup. The defense, I can't even call that defense. That Tyus Jones layup should not have happened. It was far too easy. That post-entry pass by Ivica Zubats as Tyus Jones and I forget who else, maybe Royce O'Neal, were both trying to front Ivica Zubats, and he had the smalls on him, but they couldn't get him the basketball, and they were trying to force feed him so much just because Phoenix went small. A lot of KD, Royce O'Neal, and they couldn't take advantage of it. That part was a big turning point to me. And then you had Zubats getting intentionally fouled by KD. Okay. But then an offensive foul the next time down, Zoo on Royce O'Neal. I don't know. Was there blood? Was that the first laceration we had at Intuit Dome? Royce O'Neal was a little bit shaken up. But another empty possession. They got it right back because Royce O'Neal was able, or they drew an offensive foul on him then, but then a Harden turnover as Tyus Jones poked it away. It was reviewed. Suns ball. Then the KD and 1 put the Suns up by 2. That was tough. James Harden called for the foul. And I thought that might be it. The Clippers might lose in regulation now. After they had been up by 9, after they had been up by 10, are they just going to let go of the rope? But no, James Harden again over Tyus Jones. They just hunted that matchup wisely. Like, I love the matchup hunting the Clippers did. There was some really smart offense there. Exploited over and over again. Tyus Jones could not stop him. 101-101. Then you get James Harden knocking down 2 free throws, making it 103-101, and then the Kevin Durant tough fadeaway. Should I play that? Should I play that KD jumper? Because that was an unbelievable shot. And you got to give credit where credit's due some, right? Clippers favor. I thought they were going to be successful and pull it out. And James Harden was going to be the hero. And I was about to tweet out, this is James Harden's team. That's what I was going to say. And it is right now. West Trueblood said, Pacer fan here. Super impressed with the Clippers' grit as the game went on. Horrible whistle. Okay. Zubats was body slammed on a play, guys. There was a no call that was egregious in the second half. We pointed it out, but tough defense and no quit, no moral victories, good signs regardless. Yeah, there's a lot of good signs, but you need the W too to go along with it. Like you learn from wins and losses, but you'd rather learn during a victory, is what James Harden said post game. Becca Fantastic said lots of talk about not leaning on James, but so many pick and rolls with Zoo clearly drained him at the end. It's also what got him back into the game. So what can you do about it? I think the biggest warning sign, the biggest concern coming out of this game is James had to do far too much. He needs help offensively. He needs more consistency. Zubats and him, let's see, James had 25 in the second half. Zubats had 14. They both were really bad in the first half. But I just think, you know, they needed more from Norman Powell tonight or a better offensive game, a double-digit game from Terrence Mann. He got his average from last season, 8. Him not getting in foul trouble. They couldn't go 8 for 29 from the outside. That's why when people look at the shot discrepancy, the Clippers getting up 14 more. Well, part of that is because they missed so many easy ones that they got offensive rebounds on. So there's another possession there. I think their 13 offensive rebounds are a little bit inflated. I know they out-rebounded them 51-42. I don't think it was as good as it looks in the box score because when you miss that many shots, there's a ton of offensive rebounds to be had. And some of those, they come right back to you, those gimmies like that. I don't want to, rain on your parade if you're hopeful about the rebounding after tonight. But I got to be honest. I don't know if it was indicative that all of a sudden the Clippers are going to be a top 5 rebounding team this season. Because, again, they missed so many. Harden missed one at the free throw line, I remember, in the first half. Got it right back and could have gone up with a little 8-foot floater right away. Nobody was guarding him. Got his own rebound on the second miss on the free throw. And instead, they got a worse possession. I think it was during that stretch where they couldn't get anything to go. Deca Fantastic said, did KPJ play with Zoo? Feels like that stagger might help. He did for a second. That's why I didn't like some of his shots. It's tough because Zoo and Harden are so efficient. That's the grouping. That's the tandem that got them back in it, guys. That's it right there. It's pretty simple. It's Big Zoo and James Harden. I'll look at some of the matchup data here, or some of the lineup data, I should say, from the Clippers in this game tonight. We got it right here. So if we go by minutes, the grouping that played the most together was James Harden was the starting lineup, of course. So they ended up going -1 in their minutes. Here's an interesting lineup to keep abreast of. A lineup that went +6 in 5 minutes was Nico Batum, James Harden, Norman Powell, Vitsa Zubats, Derek Jones Jr. So basically, the starters, but with Batum in for man, went +6 in their 5 minutes. Now I need to find a lineup that they got absolutely destroyed on. That was their best lineup, net rating wise. The other one is the one we talked about. You know what? Chris Dunn, Ivica Zubats, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann, Kevin Porter Jr. went +4. So, yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. did play with Ivica Zubats. Nico, James Harden, Norman Powell, Derek Jones Jr., and Terrence Mann, they also went a +4. And it's all Nico every time. You look at a positive, and Nico is going to be a plus in the net rating aspect. So which lineup was really bad? I mean, they had a bunch that went -3. James Harden, Norman Powell, Chris Dunn, Ivica Zubats, Amir Coffey. I don't know. There aren't crazy swings that I'm seeing here in these 5-man lineups to extrapolate too much with. Lee Vibin said Harden was gassed towards the end of regulation and overtime. He was. You could see it. Like, what happened at the very end of the game with James Harden and losing the basketball like that on the inbounds play. I know there was just 3 seconds left, but you're down 3. It's plenty of time, honestly, to get a shot off. That was pretty tough to see him turn it over. And I can play it for you here if you want to watch the play again. I don't know. Is this Misery Loves Company? Is this... No, Adam, this is not what we want. Why would you show us this?
Clippers out of timeouts, down 3.
The sound is down. So the inbounder is Derek Jones Jr. here. I mean, that just has to be like That has to be caught. I don't know what happened here. Here's the basketball. Here's James Harden. It's not a bad pass. His hands are right there. Grayson Allen's here. Boop. Oh, he's got to snatch that. He said post-game how disappointed he was. I got to attribute some of that to fatigue, I hope, because that's tough to watch. I do want to see the KD game winner again. Not game winner, but the shot to tie it, to bring it into overtime. Yeah, it's hard to explain away. Yeah, and James Harden did take a beating. You remember the play in the second half? I think it was he and KD were going for basically a jump ball as somebody made a wild pass. It was up for grabs. It was basically 3 flies up. And KD, I think, got an elbow on the head of James Harden, who was down for a little bit. He also, late in this ball game, trying to attack in overtime multiple times, he got put to the floor. I thought for sure one of them was going to be called a foul. I was kind of surprised by that. I'm not going to act like James Harden, like some people said, cost them the game, as I got a caller late talking about that who wasn't making a ton of sense. It's like, well, he was taking too many shots. And then he also said he didn't take enough shots. Which is it, man? You basically didn't like the shots that he missed, and you liked the shots he was able to make. Renee Z is talking about a Norman Powell with a bad pass. Which pass are you talking about? And I keep missing this Kevin Durant shot because I accidentally forget about the commercial part. So let's review. I got this for you. This is James Harden play to get to the free throw line to try to tie it. James left it all out there. Like, it's understandable that he was gassed late in this game. I'm not going to put it on him like some people want me to. I want to see this play late. Hey. Lost it for a moment. Gathers, drives, contact. So there's the foul that sent him to the line. I mean, he was on the hardwood a ton. If you notice, there is like a little hitch in his shot here at the end on the free throw he missed. He hesitates just for a second. I don't think that's his normal shooting form. Does anybody else see it? Just for a second. Now a chance to tie the game. In and out. Rebound. That's so frustrating. I know, most of all for James. Man. Because he was heroic with some of the stuff he was doing. I just don't like the fact, the Harden KD collision. There were a lot of high elbows that got ignored, said XD programmer X. I just don't like the fact that they were so heavily reliant on James Harden, guys, and he's 35. I just worry about, do they have enough secondary and tertiary scorers out there to help out James right now without Kawhi Leonard, who it sounds like, according to Shams, is weeks away. This isn't some day-to-day thing. He's than anyone would like him to be right now. So somebody's going to have to step up consistently. Norman Powell's capable. Ivica Zubac's finished with 21-9. When you look at that box score, 8 of 13. I think Zoo, after the first half, in the second half of this one, Zoo went 6 of 7, guys. Once he got it going, it was over. It was exactly what you wanted to see from Ivica Zubac. I was happy about that. Like, he started to cook. He dunked on Mason Plumlee. Once he dunked on Big Plum, I think that happened in the second quarter. Was it? Yeah. After he came back in, after being subbed out after the 2 fouls, he dunked on Plumlee. Sometimes a dunk is not just a dunk. Kai Jones got him too. I said hi to Big Plum as he was walking by earlier pregame. He said, "What's up?" I love that guy. Maybe I just love saying Big Plum. But like it's almost like for every positive you can find a negative also in this game. For every negative you can find a positive. There's so much balance. Maybe that's what you get when the game goes to overtime, when it's that tight of a ball game, when it's that close. Speaking of Kai Jones, he had to come in early. He had a dunk off a really nice pass from Norman Powell and then had that dunk on Plumlee. He also had a block on Plumlee. He also had a possession, I think it was in the second half, where he didn't step up and guard the ball handler on a switch in the pick and roll where Batum took the big man, and Batum was like, "What's up?" afterwards because the guy hit the jumpers. Kai Jones completely played off of him. But then he had that putback dunk off of a miss that was huge. So all dunks, Kai Jones, what do you expect? I thought he was okay. 6 points in his 13 minutes. There was a play where Mason Plumlee just overpowered him going to the rim. I don't know what Juan's referring to here. One of the dunks from Kai. Coffee and Ball said, if Norman Powell can't give up more in the scoring column, can't do more while Kawhi is out, it's going to be hard to get wins. I mean, it's the same thing we've been talking about for months, guys. We're worried about not having enough shot creation. It played out like that tonight. It did. And there's far too much responsibility on James Harden. It's just not sustainable, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, 62 points in the paint. That's great. If they weren't so god-awful from three, if they just had a bad night instead of a miserable night from the outside. And by the way, a lot of that is Norman Powell. So again, you say something negative. If they weren't that bad from three, you can look at it as a positive too. Norm's not going 1 for 7 from three very often. The Clippers aren't going to go 8 for 29 from three very often. They may not be a great three-point shooting team, but they're better than 27%. And Norm shot 44% from three last season. He's much better than that. James Harden went 2 of 9 from three. That's not going to happen very often. So them combined to go, what, 3 of 16 from the outside? It's not sustainable. As much as some of the stuff with James Harden isn't sustainable, them shooting that poorly from three, also not sustainable. Lee Vibin said, do you think we'll see Jordan Miller next game? I hope so, man. But it's also like, how are you going to put him in after the way Amir Coffey just played? You're saying you're going to play him over Kevin Porter Jr.? You're going to have him handle the ball that much? Or you play him with Chris Dunn so Chris Dunn can bring the ball up? I think that's the solution. Because I don't think Jordan Miller's ready with the handle to bring the ball up and play make like that, guys. As good as he has looked, I think that's asking too much. But maybe you could play him with Chris Dunn. And that could be something. If Kevin Porter Jr. struggles, if he goes 1 of 8 again, you don't know that. Juan Angulo said next Wednesday is our first dub. So you're saying they're going to start 0-3? That's not great. Renee Z said the foul man got against Booker was egregious. I didn't think it was a good call by the officials. The one he fouled out on was obvious, but there were a couple that were ticky-tack. Juan Angulo said stadium was loud, only needed the dub. Yeah, you got everything you wanted out of that game. The emotional roller coaster of a good ball game, the ups and the downs, the good and the bad with the Clippers. You were as invested as you could be. And then you added the atmosphere and the features and the technology. Everything was there for a perfect night at Intuit Dome in night one, except they didn't get the W. Except Kevin Durant hit that tough shot. That's what you're frustrated about right now. And I get it. And I heard Kevin Durant also. I guess he was talking about the wall post game or the environment there and distracting me. And here's that shot he made. I mean, this is beautiful defense. Amir Coffey was so good tonight. I did have him as my player of the game with clips and dip. Man, I think he performed to the level I was looking for. So here's KD post game talking with the Evil Full Letter, but here's the shot. Look at this. Look at this. Harden comes over to help. I mean, my God. Why? Why? Harden can get that. He's got the quick hands. He couldn't. But KD's 7 feet tall. Players falling away. He's on his backside. That's
breaking, running, and passing the ball and playing with each other. So, we got to keep building.
Harden said post game. I don't know how he got that thing off. I don't know how, after just watching it twice, how he got that thing off. It's brutal. But he did give Clipper Nation free chicken. Speaking of, y'all are making me hungry. I'm going to order some DoorDash. I'm going to go against my good judgment here and say screw it and order some McDonald's. How do you guys feel about that? Are you with me? Is anybody else hungry? I can't wait till Chick-fil-A opens tomorrow. I need some stuff now. Hello Dolo said positive is we gave ourselves a fighting chance and we defended one of the best shot creating teams excellently. They did. Norm's defense was really, really good. I was proud of that part of his game. I just wonder what that is going to take out of his offense. That's my concern. And if the Clippers start 1-2 or 0-3, and I think 1-2 is best case scenario right now, but I don't even want to think about 0-3. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. XT Programmer X talked about Terrence Mann. He was hesitant early. And as someone else said, he was screaming and jumping up and down to get the ball in the corner late in the first half. Just needs to be greedy and aggressive from the jump. Yeah, that's what you need. It shouldn't take the crowd at Intuit Dome to get Terrence Mann to take those shots. That's coaching staff stuff. That's stuff you work on in the preseason. Like, you have to put them up. There's no two ways about it. They need your three-point shooting. You are a career 37% three-point shooter. Why are you hesitating? Made no sense. And then you put it up after you hesitate, there's less of a chance it goes in. Ross said, yes, Dunn and Miller would be a great combination. That's how you'd have to do it. MKXLNT said positivity. It took overtime for Phoenix to get to their season average. Yeah, Clippers held them to 103 in regulation. Renee Z said KD. Yeah, I saw that. ST said there should be a menu item and Intuit called Amir Coffee. That's funny. Renee Z said, hell yeah. I don't want to get used to many moral victories with this team, guys, because they can't afford them. They can't. If you're close in a game like this and up by 9 with under 4 minutes left, that's one you can't lose. That will come back to haunt you later in the season. Things are going to be far too close in the Western Conference for you to be satisfied with a good defensive effort and, a team that fought. It has to be wins too. They have to stay around 500 without Kawhi. That's it right there. That is the recipe. Just 500. Stay there. I don't want to look ahead to Portland next Wednesday like somebody else talked about. That'll be their first dub. I don't want to think it's going to take that long. They have to get one of these next two games. They do. I think the same person that brought me DoorDash the other night is doing it again. Is that embarrassing? He's going to get to know my apartment building pretty well. Renee Z said DeJounte Murray fractured his hand tonight. Oh, I did not know that. That is tough. That's the thing. Unfortunately, with injuries, we talk about the West on paper heading into the year and how difficult it's going to be, but injuries are part of the game. That's awful. I love DeJounte Murray. Pelicans will still be competitive as long as Zion didn't play, though, either, did he? He had a virus? Juan Angulas said, meant to say first home dub next Wednesday. Okay. Correction. I like hearing that. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit better here. Maybe it's because I just ordered McDonald's. Maybe that's making me feel worse. I don't know. I should go through some of the plays from some of the guys. Harden had a ridiculous friendly bounce on a three-pointer. I think that was his third quarter where he had 16 points. 16 of his 29 came in the third quarter alone. Like, he just started cooking. I've probably been using that word too much, specifically with James Harden tonight. Ross said 5 stars for multiple delivery guy. Holo Dolo said, I love you guys in here. Y'all are keeping me up. As long as there's people in here caring about Clippers basketball, I'm here with you. Holo Dolo said, I believe we can beat Denver. Zoo has always been solid against Jokic. Facts. I do not see us shooting this poorly again, especially Norman Harden. Here's the problem. Norman Harden is an outlier. Both guys shooting that bad from three, where again, they went 3 of 16 from the outside combined. I don't expect that. Renee Z said Zion was ill. Yeah, he had a virus. Juan Angulo said KD bodied him and Harden got back up, ready to shoot. Are you talking about the elbow he took? That looked a little scary. Harden did get fouled on the patented step back 3, of course. Maybe the and one towards the end of the first half is what got Harden going. Then one midway through the third quarter, then a 3. Then he was fouled on the 3. Then he got the friendly bounce on the 3. So that was the last three-pointer he hit in the third. Oh, there was a great lob to Derrick Jones Jr. out of a timeout in the first half when the Clippers offense was struggling. Does anybody know if that was first or second quarter? It was from James Harden. I want to say it was first quarter. And it kind of took everybody by surprise. Honestly, this ball, when Derrick Jones Jr. said it's hard to outthrow me or miss me on a lob because he can just keep going up, this was that. Derrick Jones Jr. and his bounce is crazy. Yeah, it made it 18-16 at the 5:34 mark, but it was after a timeout. Ooh, it was a beautiful, beautiful play and a perfect lob. Renee Z's on top of it. He said first quarter. I love seeing that. Honestly, the crowd was like, there was a late reaction to it. It was just like, oh my God. We haven't seen anyone with hops like this in a while. I got 2 of them with Kai. Derrick Jones Jr., a 3-pointer earlier in the third quarter. I can't tell you how important, him knocking down a couple of 3-pointers is for this team tonight and his confidence. Derrick Jones Jr. So I asked Coach Lou pregame, guys, because I noticed Derrick Jones Jr. was getting into the mid-range in the preseason. And that's not a shot in his profile. Not from the last few years. He's hardly taken any mid-range shots, long twos. And he did it multiple times and knocked him down. In fact, the first shot made by a Clipper at Intuit Dome in the preseason was a mid-range jumper by Derrick Jones Jr. against Dallas, his old team. Apparently, he told Coach Lou, as Coach Lou told me this pregame, that's his shot. He told the coaching staff, that's my shot. I think there may be more to Derrick Jones Jr. offensively than we realized. And if tonight's any indication, 12 points, 5 of 6 shooting, 2 of 2 from the outside, he looked good offensively, guys. He did not get a mid-range shot to go, but encouraging signs from him offensively, confidence-wise, knocking down both of his 3-pointers and going 5 of 6. Holo Dolo said Harden just has to accept the mini, man. He's so good at it. Just get comfortable with it, man. Holo Dolo, did you watch the game? He hit 5 mid-range shots, 5 of them. Harden hit 5 of them. He was cooking in the mid-range. That's also a big positive out of tonight. He was taking what the defense was giving him. Oh, you're going to put Tyus Jones on me? Step back middies. He hit 5 of them. What do you mean? He did it. Renee Z said Ballmer was so in awe of that play. It was great to see Ballmer in the crowd at the wall. What do you say? Welcome to Intuit Dome. He was so hyped. You knew he had been waiting for that moment for so long. Guys, he built this for Clippers fans. all privately funded. It's incredible. It's a dream. Renee Z said Derek Jones Jr. was so good, thought he should have played more. Maybe. In his 29 minutes, 12 points, 2 steals. I love the confidence. I don't know. There's something about him. He is a grinder, a hard worker. He had that steal and layup in transition. I want to say it was that third or fourth quarter. But there's a mentality with this team defensively that I do like. Those shutdown corners he and Chris Dunn, as Coach Lou called it. Now, Terrence Mann, I talked about him passing up that three-pointer until he finally took it when the crowd got on him early in the first quarter on the right wing. His first bucket was downhill for a layup. Then he got a mid-range shot to go about the 4-minute mark. Then a transition layup off really good defense by Norman Powell on Booker. It was an and one, but Terrence Mann ended up missing it. Terrence Mann was getting to work early. I want to see what did he have and ended up with in the first quarter. He had 4 points. Did he have? And then 2 more points in the second quarter. So, yeah, and he did miss some free throws uncharacteristically. That stuff can happen in a game like this. It's margin for error. It's a slim margin. You can't afford any mistakes. You really can't. Zubats talked about it post-game a ton. He kept emphasizing the same thing. Our margin for error is small. We're not the most talented team, he said, but we play hard. And they kept saying that our identity is playing hard every night, every game. They get it. It is ingrained in this squad. But will you still play just as hard if you start 0-3 or 3-7? Will that effort still be there? A lot of teams play hard early in the season. They know they have a chance. Coming out of preseason, everybody's feeling good about themselves. Hello, Dulles said, consistently. Well, can he get another game in first? Let me know if he doesn't take any in the next game. There was also a bunch of times this game where he passed up those shots and dribbled back to the three-point line. We're going to need Mitty Harden going forward. I didn't see that many of those. He was taking what the defense gave him. I was very happy with his second half, at least. First half. Now, this is a concern. Harden averaged 6 turnovers per game, I want to say, in the preseason, guys. And he just had 8 tonight. Now, post-game, he talked about it. He was hard on himself, said, I need to play better. I need to take care of the ball better. I need to shoot better. His leadership has been unreal. He talked about the positives and the reason the team should feel good about this loss, good about this loss to some extent. He also said, I think he's mentioned no moral victories, but there are things you can take away from it because you take away stuff in wins too. You learn from failure, you learn from victories. He mentioned that, rather learn from a win. Is it good that Harden led them in rebounding with 12? 3 offensive rebounds? Some of those boards were off of misses, gimmies. Again, he started 2 for 11 in the first half. Chunk said, I told you we would all be Chris Dunn stans. Man, I know Chris Dunn. He didn't tell me nothing. I've been a stan. I was a stan at Providence. I never thought I thought he'd be an offensive player in the NBA, not the defensive juggernaut he is, but I'm proud of the fact that that's what's kept him in the league. Everybody loves Chris Dunn, though. You're right. Chunk also said, also as shitty as it was, KPJ was such a negative. Harden had some really bad turnovers. Yep. 10 to 12 point swing turnovers. And we still look like the better team, in my opinion, than the one with D-Book, KD, and Beal. And they had 22 turnovers themselves. Book only had 15 points. Beal had 24. Kevin Durant had 25. They made them work. They did. Beal looks quick, by the way. I was impressed with his explosiveness. With the injuries he has had, that's something I track. Their bench ended up outscoring the Clippers. I tried to tell you guys heading into the ball game that their bench has actually looked pretty good. I believe they ended up outscoring the Clippers, like surprisingly a deeper bench than I would have thought for a team that's above the second apron. They have more depth than I would have assumed the Phoenix Suns, you could say. Big Plum dropped 8 on the Clippers. He bullied Kai Jones on a play where I think Kai had to intentionally foul him. I think I wrote that down. I still think Kai was okay. Like serviceable. What you need from him. The dunks translated. Can he hold his own against backup bigs right now? That's what they need. No Mo Bamba. I felt like Grayson Allen hit a big three-pointer at one point, but he only went 2 of 6 from 3. He led the league in three-point shooting last season at 46% from the outside. So he could also play better. So some guys, had down games. And for the Phoenix Suns, you could say some of those guys could play better too. I think it's fair. You got to look at it from both sides. You can't just look at it from the Clippers side or else you're not doing fair analysis. Holo Dolo said our turnovers felt like more self-inflicted to me. Meanwhile, the Suns' turnovers felt forced by us. I think that's fair. That's pretty good. Chunk said outside of that 6 to 8 minute stretch where we had absolutely no offense, that was one of the toughest things to watch. We were very solid with every aspect of the game. Yeah, you can't go 6 minutes straight without scoring a point like they did in the second quarter. That will do you in. That stuff always tends to do you in. Chunk said, so nice having athleticism. XD Programmer X said, yes, let's flip the script and be Team MIDI. Seriously, why not? Because it's a low percentage shot. Or like it's an analytics nightmare. If you're really good at it, and if you shoot, close to 50% from there, like Kawhi Leonard in his career, cool, do it. But most guys don't. And it will catch up to you. They need to be team get up more 3-pointers. Tonight, they got up 29. Wait, I got my McDonald's, guys. Hold up. Here's an important comment, I think. As I try not to eat on the air. It's just a podcast. It's not the same, right? I better got my orange Fanta right. Fanta. So, Coffee and Ball said if KPJ can't be a positive in the next couple of games, I think we start seeing bones. We need his energy and creation. I don't know if Coach Lou feels like this, but I agree with you. And I'll tell you why. If there's no straw, I'm going to flip a lid, so to speak. Okay. There is a straw. The Clippers do not have time. They just don't have time for a 10-game sample if a guy's really struggling. They don't. KPJ's got to show something in the next 2 games. I agree with you. Because there's a real chance, as much as they need shot creation, because they still have bones on the team, which I wasn't even sure what happened at this point. There's a real chance that the rust is too much to overcome right now for him. I mean, the only make he had was a dunk tonight, and maybe he's not ready. A year of missing basketball, and you can't wait for him to get ready while losing ball games. I'm not saying he's the reason they lost tonight. It's not true, but didn't play well. And Bones Highland is waiting. and you have a capable guy like that who can fill it up, who can catch fire, yeah, I don't disagree with this take. Guys have to be on a short leash because the schedule's too tough. You don't have Kawhi right now, and you got to hang around 500. Period. I don't want to be harsh, but it's only because it's understandable with him being out of basketball at this level for so long that it may take more time. Dude, he played 6 games. He played 6 games overseas. We got to stop with this. I looked it up. He played 6 games, and it's not NBA ball. It's not the same thing. Why do you think Pat Bev can go to Israel and drop 30? It's not the same thing. It doesn't mean anything. He played 6 games in Greece. Who cares? I think, look, I'm not going to put too much into his 1-for-8 performance because some of those same shots he misses that you guys are saying are bad shots are the exact same shots he hits when he's on. That's his game. He's a tough shot taker and maker. So I'm not going to overanalyze one performance in game 1 from KPJ. But on the other hand, I do think there has to be a sense of urgency, and he has to be watched closely because if they're not falling over the next couple of games too, then you're like, okay, maybe it's just too soon and we don't have time to waste or wait while Bones Highland's right there and we need a boost of offense, an injection there. Or, I don't know, Jordan Miller, get some run, put him on the court with Chris Dunn in the second unit. Chris Dunn brings the ball up because that's what KPJ has been doing, and that's how you rationalize playing him. Well, you have Chris Dunn. He can play make a little bit. He can bring the ball up the floor. There's just every game is so important and critical for this team, guys. Every game. They are going to be hanging on a razor-thin edge all year long when it comes to trying to compete for, I don't know, anywhere between 6 and 10. Honestly, anywhere between 6 and 10. And 6 seems aspirational, depending on what you think about Kawhi's health. I'd love to see him get 6, but they need Kawhi back sooner than later for that to stay out of the plan. XD Programma X said, if you had to pick between Bones and Jordan Miller to take KPJ minutes, who would you rather put in there? I just think it's different because Bones can play the 1. I don't think Jordan Miller is playing point right now. I don't think he's there. Oh, this is good news. Houston lost. So that OKC pick swap, they're taking the better of the 2 picks, meaning the Clippers have to stay in front of Houston. So they make sure they take Houston's pick instead of the Clippers' first-round pick. That's something to monitor all season long. We'll be doing that here. If Jordan Miller's out there, either Norm's going to have to bring the ball up or Chris Dunn, in a second unit backup 5-man lineup. Chunk said, how bad is Bones on D? Because I think Bones is just as much of a heater with fitting better. What? I think Bones' defense is not nearly as bad as advertised coming over from Denver. I'll put it like that. I don't. Yeah, everybody's talking about the Rockets being 0-1 too. Talk amongst yourselves. I need a fry. Just kidding. I could resist. Bones' defense was really good in that last game against the Kings, who were playing a lot of their guys in the preseason. He had a couple of steals right away. Giuseppe said, how bad do we panic if they start 0-3? I mean, I wouldn't panic because I wouldn't be shocked by it. But Some of the people in here that are telling me like they're going to be a top 4 seed, they might panic. I know what I'm getting into with this team this season. They're overly reliant right now on James Harden without Kawhi Leonard. And tonight was a big warning sign in some ways regarding that. Like, they dropped 40 minutes with James Harden, chased a win, didn't get it. That stuff adds up. Coffee and Ball said their loss was worse. Hornets were missing 3 starters. Playing the Suns this good is a good sign for us. Okay. You going to comment about the part where you said KPJ played overseas and I told you he only played 6 games and we should stop saying that? Anybody? Junk said top 5? Top 5 what? The answers here. Need a fry. The key is on DoorDash with McDonald's. You can ask for extra salt with your fries. Pro tip. Life-changing. I don't know. You guys tell me. This is a decent question. How bad are you going to panic if the Clippers start 0-3? Because it could happen. They have to get one of these next 2 games. Not easy. Denver. Then in San Francisco against Golden State the very next night. Here's what I want to know. Do they catch Denver or Golden State on a back-to-back too? Denver Nuggets schedule. So Denver is playing today, which is now tomorrow, Thursday, against OKC. So they have Friday off. So no, they will have a day off. What about Golden State? Clippers do have 2 days off beforehand. No. Golden State plays tomorrow, and then has Friday, Saturday off, and waits for the Clippers. So yeah, rest disadvantage, big one. It's going to be really difficult, guys. I'm telling you. That Mexican Nara said, should Coach Lou run a 12-man rotation in one of the back-to-backs? I mean, it's hard. You go that deep into your bench, like who gets a rhythm? I worry about guys' timing being off when you're going that deep. Chunk said, dog, the schedule's hard as F to start. Outside the Blazers, the first 10 are tough. I've been telling people that. Some people have been telling me they're going to start 7-3 or 8-2. I'm like, I'll settle for 5-5 to start. I'd be okay with that. 5-5 without Kawhi Leonard, first 10 games, I'm good with that. Coffee and Ball said, well, technically KPJ did play overseas, small sample size though. Yeah, there's nothing you can put into that. I didn't say he didn't play overseas. I said it's not meaningful. He played 6 games. You said the thing is KPJ actually played overseas. He shouldn't be that rusty. Because he played 6 games, he shouldn't be that rusty? Come on, my guy. You're better than this, Coffee and Ball. Way better. We're boys. I've known you forever. This is so beneath you. I wish late night McDonald's runs were beneath me, but I can't help myself. I have to, it's comfort food after a loss like this, after what would have been such a good victory. God. And it's the Suns. You guys hate the Suns. Nobody likes the Suns. They've beaten the Clippers 3 times in the playoffs. They beat them the first game at Intuit Dome. Not cool. Bad Suns. Not cool. Here's the positives. Some people will say the rebounding. I'm not going to put as much into that as others. I'm not. Derrick Jones Jr., that's a positive for me. We'll see if we can weigh this out, positives versus negatives tonight. Derrick Jones Jr., big positive because of his offense. You know what he brings defensively. There was a lot of switching going on early. Like Norman Powell was on Beal, then he was on Booker in the first quarter, while Terrence Mann and Derrick Jones Jr. were switching off on KD. and Book and Tyus, like they can do that. But I'm going with the offense from Derrick Jones Jr. as a big positive tonight. 5 of 6, 2 of 2 from the outside. I think he is a real hard worker and grinder and a guy that plays with a chip on his shoulder and is really annoyed that he hasn't gotten more of a shot offensively in his career and just got his first real contract with the Clippers. I'm real happy about Derrick Jones Jr. and the type of player he is and how he's 27 and might be able to pop with different things offensively we didn't realize when they brought him in. Chunk said, I'm so tired of seeing Zubas and even James get fouled and never get the call. I mean, they definitely had some tough ones go against them tonight. Giuseppe said, did you get the chicken Big Mac? I did not. That doesn't sound great. Does that sound good to somebody? I got 2 cheeseburgers with extra cheese, fries, orange Fanta, chocolate chip cookies. You know Russ is going to bring it Saturday. Oh, I forgot about that. The Russ revenge game is upon us on Saturday. Well, maybe he'll try too hard and have 5 turnovers. Chunk said Lou needs to publicly call out the refs in a press conference. Not really, dude. It's game 1. They didn't lose this game because of the refs. That Mexican Nara said coffee was pretty clutch tonight. Yeah, coffee is for closers. I loved Amir Coffee. So when you talk about Jordan Miller playing, you're taking out Amir. Yeah, it is the same order. How do you know that, Ross? My guy was on the last show when I ordered McDonald's. I have a type. I have an order. I have my favorites here. My cravings. Y'all are keeping me from eating it right now. Plot twist. I throw it out. I let it get cold and I throw it out and I live right. So I got Derrick Jones Jr. and what he was able to do offensively is a big plus. I got Ivica Zubac turning his offense around after I tweeted. I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything. I think you guys know I'm not. That's pretty clear. But I did make sure everybody knew that this whole thing starts with Big Zoo in the second half. I said, before the second half started on Twitter, on X, the Zoo minutes have to be better to start the third quarter. Now, that is not rocket science, but everything kind of falls in line after that. And wouldn't you know, he had the first make for the Clippers in the third. He even hit a jumper in the game, guys, in the third quarter. Somebody in here is going to get after me because they've been talking about wanting Ivica Zubac to take jumpers. He hit one all of last season, a baseline one. That was confirmed by Carlo Jimenez. I don't know if that's a big part of his game or needs to be anytime soon, but he was starting to feast with 10 points in that third quarter alone. Just in case you guys didn't believe me, I had to share the screen there. Ross said, I listen to your late shows. He knows my McDonald's order. It's sad. Probably sadder for me than him. Like, I'm the one eating it. Chunk said, Derrick Jones Jr. on KD, some possessions gave me PGSD. We're stopping the fight. We're stopping the fight. This guy won the comment of the night. PGSD. Oh, that is good. Oh, that's so good. I'll have to reference that on Saturday. That Mexican Nara said, does this move the Suns ahead of the L word in the Clippers' top-hated teams? No. Are you crazy? Not for me. I mean, it could for you. Suns win the first game at Intuit Dome. I understand the logic of the Lakers haven't beat the Clippers in the playoffs. They've never played. The Suns have beat them 3 times, and 2 of those times the deck was stacked against the Clippers because of injuries. And it's annoying when you feel like you would have won both of those series against Phoenix if you were just healthy. Everybody knows it. Kawhi beats them by himself in 2023, even without Paul George, if he just stayed healthy. 2021 with Kawhi, they're definitely winning. Man, I can't get over Chunk here. Derrick Jones Jr. on KD. Some possessions gave me PGSD. I am aware that Mexican Nara. I just said it. I know. Oh, you're emphasizing the Western Conference Finals appearance. Yeah. It's not just that they beat him. They beat him in the Western Conference Finals. That's a good point. Max Vegas said, I didn't watch the game. I just got off work. Did Kai get any minutes? Yeah, he did. He got minutes right away because Big Zoo picked up 2 fouls. He played 13 minutes, went 3 of 5, all dunks, 6 points, 4 boards. He was okay. -5, but I'm not putting it on him. He had some bad moments, some good moments, some bad moments. It was competent for a backup center. It was fine. It didn't move the needle of the game one direction. Chunk said, Norm be annoying the F out of me sometimes, that 5-on-1 fast break. Norm did have a rip through trying to draw the foul that was bothersome to me in the second half. He did go 6 of 6 at the charity stripe, though, but it was a crucial moment, and he didn't get the call. Refs didn't give it to him. Part of the reason he finished was 17, even though he went 5 of 16, is because he got to the charity stripe so often. So Ivica Zubac's also a positive, turning that game around because he was a mess early on. It was a disaster. And there was this fool that was getting on me and saying, like, Zoo isn't a top 20 center and he's so bad and he fumbles the basketball and all the stereotypical stuff you hear about Ivica Zubac from Clippers fans who don't like him. And it's really, really, really annoying. And I can't take it sometimes because Zoo is a good starting center and a top 5 rim protector every single season. And some guy was coming after me who I had to mute because he was pointing to some stats. You guys aren't going to believe this. This is some garbage right here. I got to show you this. So this guy, and don't troll him or don't go after him or bully him or whatever. The Bish. This guy, the Bish, he started using this Hollinger. I don't know if it's just his player efficiency rating stat for qualified centers. And it's for games played so far. This was his evidence that Ivica Zubac is bad. And he's pulling up the player efficiency rating from this season. So guys who have played one game. Zubac wouldn't be on there yet because this happened while the game was still going on. And he's like, look, he's not even on here. And it says number 1 is Jackson Hayes in player efficiency rating. Luke Cornett is number 4. Like guys who are not even close to starting centers or anything. It was the weirdest, wildest. Oh man, it's just pathetic. The Zoo hate is out of control. Over the top, out of control, and downright shameful. Ross said Norm also didn't get his regular calls tonight. He got some. Max Vegas said, just want to say I appreciate you very much. I look forward to these. One of the only reasons I get happy. My guy. There gotta be other reasons. Who's in the picture with you? Life's okay. I appreciate the love, but, chin up. Life can be very hard sometimes. If I can help in any way with these, I'm glad to. But, I mean, look for the positives. Find your wins. Sometimes you got to do that grateful list. What are you grateful for? You wake up every day. That can be very helpful. And then you realize, you know what? I ain't got so bad. Yeah, Clippers lost last night, but Intuit Dome's amazing. We have the best arena in sports. I ain't got it so bad. Basketball's back. Going to be a fun season regardless. Clipper Nation's back together. Things aren't so bad. Chunk said, how was the arena, though? I missed the start. If you went over it. Incredible. Unbelievable. Breathtaking. Like nothing you've ever seen. I messed up a couple times on the radio with getting to some of my particulars because I was so distracted by the Halo board stuff happening, the sound, the noise from the wall. I just couldn't help myself. You just, I don't know, wrapped in this cocoon of basketball nirvana. It's crazy. It's so it's it's so much more than you would ever think once you get inside. Like it just delivers in every way. Steve Ballmer did it. Thank goodness. Went from the worst owner in sports to the best, Clipper Nation. Life ain't so bad. Tough loss tonight. It's all right. Pick ourselves up. I'll have another show for you tomorrow. I got Justin Wilson and Jamal Christopher coming on. The twins, the brothers. They will be on. And we'll get into more of this and try to see where the Clippers are headed. 2 days off, regroup, get ready for Denver. Try to get a big win. Big Zoo versus Jokic. I'm here for that matchup. Always. I got to get out of here, guys. I got to eat. I got to go to bed. I appreciate you all big time. Reezy got a burner, said, we got a rematch next week. That's right. They take them on Halloween. Right back at Intuit Dome. Phoenix. Isn't so bad. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, that'll be the first. That's going to be interesting to see who adjusts more and, seeing the same team twice in about a week. That's fun. You get to see, some of those, not quite, but some of those playoff adjustments. Yeah, that Derek Jones Jr. alley-oop was insane. Hip to clip. Thank you, my guy. Lifting some weights, saying, keep it up. My guy. Edmondo said, thank you so much for staying on so long. Got home safely from a 2.75 hour drive to Central Valley. If KPJ is able to come in with a not foul trouble zoo, it will get him going, which will help Kai. Okay. I can get with that. Edmondo, appreciate you. Good to be with you on the drive. That's why we're here. Love you all, Clipper Nation. For real, though. Don't forget to... What? I was about to say don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell button or whatever that alerts you whenever I go live, because it's pretty much all lives now. I have more fun talking with you guys than just doing a standalone interview type thing. So we will be here. We will be back tomorrow. Maybe I'll do 2 shows tomorrow, 2 shows Friday before the next Clippers game. You know me. It'll probably happen. William Blast knows what's up. Damn, Adam, nonstop content. Whatever gives me an excuse to get McDonald's late at night, you know what I mean? No, it's just cool hanging out with you guys. It's good to commiserate after tough losses like this, but it's game 1. They got 81 left. They can figure this out. A lot to be encouraged by. Again, James Harden beats the Zubats, running the pick and roll in the second half. Zoo talked about the angles on his screens in the first half and how long he was holding them weren't good enough, and they made that slight adjustment. It worked. They're still learning each other. Norman Powell's going to be better than going 1 for 7 from 3 on Saturday, you would think. James Harden will be better than going 2 of 9 from 3. Nico Batum's going to knock down a 3 on Saturday. Believe that. And he looks great. He got called for some tough ticky-tack fouls, but just great to see Nico Batum back on this Clippers team. What else can you ask for? He's moving well. He's guarding, tough assignments and matchups out there. Amir Coffey was incredible. Chris Dunn had his moments with those steals. Kevin Porter Jr. is going to play better. I'm out of here, guys. Appreciate you all for staying late. Means a lot to me. And my guy, Max Vega, chin up, my friend. Feel better. I hope you have a great day. I appreciate you checking out Clippers Talk. We got a little community here. 2 a.m. Clippers Talk. We're sickos. Basketball sickos, as JJ Redick would say. How am I going to eat this late? Oh, whatever. Love you all. Talk to you tomorrow.